Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host 𝙒𝙖𝙩𝙨. Today I have with me Savio Rodrigues, and we're going to talk about conversions in general, the truth, the hype, why it happens, how does one look at it in a democracy, in a secular democracy where all religions are respected. Is it good for the society if this happens, or should there be something else? Should there be checks and balances? Everything under the sun, 360-degree view. Let's welcome our guest of the evening, Savio Rodrigues. Savio, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Namaskar. Thank you for having me, Yashvi. Always a pleasure.
Sav, long time no talk. How are you?
I'm doing very good. I'm doing well.
Wonderful. I mean, once in a while, I do get see this is the magic of Twitter. I follow you, but once in a while, I'll get what your wonderful work you're doing in Willem
Thank
with
you.
pictures and so on and so forth. But for the most part, I don't know what you're doing, but I know you're working very hard. So give us a quick, overview of what you've been up to, and then we'll jump into our topic.
Well, we've been basically working in the Willem constituency, trying to establish a foothold for the BJP party in a constituency that's predominantly a Christian constituency. But over and above that, I think the most important thing is to take our kind of politics to the grassroots level, raise up issues even with our own government in the interest of the people. Because at the end of the day, the nation is always larger than the political party, and the political party, of course, is larger than the person himself. So I think we've been trying to reach out to grassroots level, take up issues that pertain to people, take up serious issues that need certain corrective measures from our government as well. And it is resonating with a lot of people at a ground level, not only in my constituency, but across Goa on certain issues of corruption that we had, raised a question on. And also the need for certain issues like garbage and, environmental consciousness and various things that we hold very close to our heart, right? So today we might be in government, we might be having a brute majority in the government, but we must not forget our roots, because our roots are governed by Goa has always been an environmentally sound and environmentally strong place. So there is a bit of conflict with a considerable amount of people who are environmental conscious, and how to build a balance between sustainable development and progressive growth that is required for the state as well. So those conflicts will continue, and I hope, and that's what I endeavor to be, the voice of the people, the voice of truth, which is what I was as a journalist. And I believe people, if they understand that, will join what we stand for. And I believe there will be a lot more good that we can do. I got into politics to do good for all the people. I didn't do that, because I would become an MLA or get a chair or in the government or anything of that sort. It doesn't matter to me. I'm already known by people. We have very successful business enterprises of our own. I think the most important thing for me is, how do I take my people forward? How do I get them to move on for the next 10, 20, 30 years and start thinking, how do we take Goa? How do we take a constituency like Willem forward? And how do we take India forward and compete globally? So those are really what I work on, Sri.
Thank you so much, Savio. So let's take a topic of the day. No one has any issues with, voluntary conversion. I mean, somebody feels that a certain religion has a better solution for him in life. Everybody is welcome to do that. But we are talking about forced conversions. Now, in forced conversions, there are many techniques being used to try and see somebody go from one way to the other. Some of the more pernicious ones are things like love jihad, real estate jihad, business jihad. But that's just one religion. The other religion also is trying to do the same thing, which is to try and induce in one way or the other, or perform some sort of a magic, which is basically, stage to try and say that their religion is better. Look holistically, Savio, how do you look at this? Is this a concern for India? Because now the numbers are stacking up 20-25%. Now that ecosystem has got a life of its own. You look at Tamil Nadu, for example, this small but tight majority is essentially wagging the tail of the DMK government. And that is
Correct.
leading to disastrous consequences for the majority there. I mean, how long is this going to be suppressed? At some point, this is going to come out in the open in the form of violence of some form or the other. So, tell us how you see this whole illegal, or I should say, forced conversions.
So let me put it straight. It's a belief that I've always had. And having done my course from a prestigious university in the US, and I'm still doing a lot of learnings as far as religions are concerned. Let me tell you that religion or interpretation of religion is the root cause of conflict in any part of the world, and the world is in conflict, and at the root of it is religion. Forced conversions in India or in any part of the world is wrong, and there are laws in certain parts of the world that ensure that forced conversions do not take place. Now, how do you look at it from an India perspective? One of the causes of conversion, of forced conversions, as you would look at, is transmigration. So, a lot of people, even earlier, not now. So, we're talking about India's 1,000 years of having invaders, rule over us, and they bringing their religion with them and forcing our people or some willfully converting to that religion. Let's say, for example, Goa. So Goa, it's not that the Portuguese came and that's how Christianity came to Goa. Christianity existed in Goa even before the Portuguese came, because you had the Franciscans, you had the Dominicans, you had the Augustinians that were already here. But what they did not do at that point of time was necessarily enforce Christianity in the brutality that the Portuguese did when they were in rule. So they made it far more stricter, they've made it far more brutal, far more violent when they were around. Now, you have to look at also the fact that there were Christians that were not connected directly to the Roman Catholic Church. They were the neo-Christians or the Gnostics who were there at that point of time. So conversions, willful conversions, forced conversion is not a new phenomenon in India. It has existed and it will continue to exist until we realize how to deal with it. Now, many a times, a lot of my Hindu sisters and brothers end up saying that, Sanatan Dharma is so strong, it withstood the onslaught of the conversion mafia from Islam, the conversion mafia from Christianity. But if you actually look at it holistically, from a Bharat perspective, rather than the geographical position of what India is at this point of time, if you look at Bharat, what it was prior to the invasion, you would have realized that at every step and corner, these Sanatan Dharma values, which were across many lands, even beyond India, into what is now Pakistan, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, Vietnam, Cambodia, a bit of Thailand, and as far as that, that's where the Sanatan Dharma values went. So obviously, there's been some point of conversions that have happened where other religions that came from the West or came from the Arab world, and actually came and changed the what you would call the local religion at that place. Many scholars at that point of time from the Christian community termed those religions to be pagan religions, but they were not pagan worshippers. They were really worshippers of Sanatan Dharma. They were worshippers of nature, worshippers of life for what life really is, and that's what Sanatan Dharma was. So it did happen in the past. Today also, if you look at what is Pakistan and Bangladesh, they are an offshoots of creation in the Indian subcontinent itself, and they got they got converted to Islam, and that's why they demanded a separate state, a separate country for themselves, and that later on went to Bangladesh. So the concept of conversion has always been real in India, or in the context of the Indian nation as it is. So today, when the Hindu community is looking at conversions, and we are a secular country, the constitution allows us to profess and preach our faith, and to go about as per the freedom that we have. The point is, at what point of time does conversion become a problem? And to me, I really see conversion becoming a problem, not with willful conversion, because with willful conversion, the Constitution gives that person that same right and the same protection to choose the religion that he wants to. The real problem arises with forced conversion. The real problem arises with conversions through allurement, conversion through intimidation. But most importantly, what I detest the most, and this is conversions throughout, whether it's the Hindu converting to Christianity, or whether it's the Christian who's converting or reconverting back to Hinduism. The fact of the matter is, there's absolutely no need to demonize any religion while you're doing it. So, what's been happening with a considerable amount of pastors, a considerable amount of clerics from the Islamic community as well? Hinduism or Sanatan Dharma, in its beauty, has become the conflict religion, and that's why they attack it. Thereby attacking it, that's where they're able to reach out to those people and try and bring their idea of God to them. Some people fall for it. Some people are coerced to it. Some people are allured to it, and some people are simply intimidated by it, and therefore they join. But the question I always ask my sisters and brothers from the Hindu community, and every person who brings up the issue of conversion, whether it's forced or whether it's willful, what causes people to convert? What are the reasons? Why is it that, let's say, the Christian community, for example, why does it go to the poorest of the poor, the underprivileged? And why do those people look up to the Christian faith and say, okay, let's see, there's something good here? They do that because their basic requirements, the basic sense of humanity is taken care of, which is education, which is a job, which is food, which is living. Now, for many years since our government has been in existence, we have not been answering these questions, which is why people are finding it easy saying, okay, today, let's say, for example, a family converted to Christianity. The daughter's got a good education. She's gone to the US to study. The pastors made everything possible for her and for her brother. The father's got a job. The mother's got some self-employment income that's coming. They've been in what Jesus has been invited into their life. They feel good about it. The same people sometimes come back as pastors again. The same that have gone to the US. There are numerous cases in India that have happened where these kids have been converted. They've sent for foreign education. They themselves become pastors and they come back. So the failure of society, you see, with humans wanting to have an answer to problems in life, there's always going to be a search for somebody bigger, and that search has always been God. That search has always been spiritual enlightenment. So a poor person today, let's say, Shri, you and I, were to go and provide a family with everything possible, we will become gods to them, metaphorically speaking. So what is conversions? Conversions in India is a menace. And the only way that menace can be curtailed, if not eradicated, is by strong laws, strongly defined laws that are able to distinguish between what is willful conversion and what is forced allurement or intimidation, or conversions by intimidation. Now, today, a lot of people have been debating about these healing services and the pastoral services, and people getting drawn to it, like it was in the case in Bihar a couple of days ago, where people converted because they believed that they would be healed from their illnesses by the power of God that the pastor was talking about. Now, that happens in almost all religions that I could think of. And I know there are people in different faiths that go to different faith healers hoping that their life gets better. Why do they do that? They do that because they're seeking for answers in their life. So, religion and interpretation of religion is always the root cause of conflict. Now, for us, from an India perspective, and purely from a Sanatan Dharma perspective, are we under threat as as a religion as far as Sanatan Dharma or Hinduism is concerned? Yes, there is a threat. That threat is primarily because of the demonization that is happening of Hindu beliefs, of Hindu culture, based by these preachers, whether they are pastors, whether they are clerics, even the Buddhists for that matter. If you've seen the last 3 weeks, there have been major conversions happening from Hinduism to Buddhism. So this conflict of religion is going to happen, and it's going to happen all over the world. The question is, how does India deal with it as a secular state? A nation or a secular country, the government cannot look at you through the prism of religion, because secularism is not the acceptance of all religion in matters of governance. Secularism is the acceptance of no religion in matters of governance. Therefore, we have to have strong laws that deal with issues like conversion, and strongly defined laws. It cannot become a tool in the hands of a fanatic across religions. And that is what is the truth? Conversions are real. Are you asking me to document it in numbers? I can tell you the government itself does not have numbers. Nobody can tell you the number of conversions that have happened in terms of quantifiable conversions. Because at the end of the day, let's take, for example, a person having a Hindu name converts to Christianity. Will you, when he goes out to fill his form and things like that, as per his details, he's still a Hindu by name, no? He doesn't show up as a Christian.
Crypto
So there is no
Christians. Yeah.
there is no quantifiable data. But yes, when you see cases that have come across of whether it's Islam, whether it's Buddhism, whether it's Christianity as well, you do know that everybody is trying to bring its religion and throw it upon people and say, okay, our way is the right way to heaven. Now, whether that's true or not, it's for them to decide. The government, on the other hand, the law, on the other hand, has to be firm. While protecting our fundamental rights, it must not also allow for the fundamental right of the other person to be tarnished. And that's where the complexities of the conversion issue is. So the truth is, yes, it is a problem. The hype is that everything is about it is the problem. No, it's not. The problem is not necessarily how you look at it. The problem is what is causing people to want to convert. Is it right for a person to come up and say, I can heal you? I don't agree to those things. Because I look at things through a scientific prism. But if people have a blind faith in a stone, and the stone is something that they believe in, so be it. Long as it doesn't interfere in the freedoms and the fundamental rights of another individual. If a person comes and says, okay, like I told you, I had this incident once when we were talking, and where somebody came to me and said, have you found Jesus? And I looked at the gentleman with absolute astonishment. I said, how irresponsible you are, that you lost Jesus. Could you have not hold on to him? Because the Jesus I know is very much with me. I don't know which Jesus you lost. Right? So there are people who want to push their religion. There are some people do it aggressively. Some people do it through allurements. And some people definitely do it through intimidation. Therefore, we need stronger laws against conversions and reconversions, both. Because a willful conversion person, a person who willfully chooses a religion, cannot become a point of attack for people from other religions who want to target them.
A couple of things, Savio, you are the best person to answer this. In your neighboring state, not exactly neighbor, but close enough, in Kerala, uh, a church pastor has come out and said that 5,000 Christian girls are also victims of love jihad. Also, in Kerala, if you look at the media, the Christian lobby or the Christian spokesperson, I mean, it's easy to find out. Kerala is a very, very obvious thing. When you look at the panelists, you know which religion he represents, which party he represents, which faction of the party he represents, and so on and so forth. So the Christians, I'm generally talking about, they have been at the forefront of showing all the ill effects because of halal food. Okay, what do you think was the problem with the Christian religion that girls got converted and went for love jihad? Do you have any insights on that?
Well, the Catholic Church in Kerala were deeply disturbed by the trend that was emerging as far as love jihad was concerned. And that is why the bishop at that point of time raised the issue. It was also raised by the Council of Bishops at that point of time, and sorry, an archdiocese, not a council. And it was real. It was real primarily because they were afraid. They even put a figure to it, about 5,000, 6,000 girls
Yes, yes,
who
yes.
from Christians who converted to Islam, and they converted for reasons of they. I remember them talking about it, and we wrote about it on issues of monetary gain. Some were purely love, according to them. It was when they realized that it's maybe this is not love, maybe this is this is an agenda, and that's the reason why they were alarmed. So today, when the Catholic Church got alarmed in Kerala, every person who attacked the Hindu faith for raising the same alarm before started to keep quiet and say, okay, now we don't need to open our mouths. But it is a reality, no? It is a reality that's happening within the Hindu community. It is a reality that's happening within the Christian community. And that is why at the onset I clearly stated, every religion, irrespective of whether they are in India or not, is trying to establish its supremacy as far as people are concerned. Quantity, not quality. What they're looking at is numbers. The game is numbers. Now let me explain to you why I think the game is numbers. Let's take the Christian religion, for example. Okay. A lot of these pastors come in, and the real conflict I have are with these pastors from evangelicals and the believers and the neo-Christians, as you would call them at this point of time. They come in, they see, they do something which is known as church planting, which is something that they have targeted. They're looking at it doing about a lakh to 2 to 3 lakhs as per different statements. They look at funds coming in from the US and the UK. Their intent is to save the people from what is considered to be eternal damnation because you belong to Hindu religion or a pagan religion. So here's the question I asked a priest once. Okay, this is Tom. Tom is goes to church every Sunday, very religiously, but Tom beats his wife, is an alcoholic, is a womanizer, and he's an abuser of his children. But he goes to church every Sunday without fail. Now you have a guy called Sham. Sham does not visit the temple at all. Maybe once in a year, maybe for Ganesh festivities. But he doesn't beat his wife. He doesn't abuse his children. Neither is he a womanizer or an alcoholic. So please tell me, Father, in the eyes of Jesus, would it be Tom or would it be Sham that would enter the kingdom of heaven? Of course, he deflected the question at that point of time because for reasons best known to him. The point is, at the end of the day, what is most important about India at this point of time is our Sanatan Dharma values. Sanatan Dharma values are linked to religion, but that religion can be any of the religions that values humanity. Because Sanatan Dharma is about finding the God in you and the God around you. And if every religion professes that in its preaching, then Sanatan Dharma should prevail in the country. Culturally, if you look at India, a lot of the people, even the Christians, have adapted to the cultural aspects of India and brought that into Christianity. Now, at the end of the day, you can believe in a stone. For a person like me, if you can go ahead and believe in a stone, it won't make a difference to me. But if that stone is able to bring good out of you, makes you a better person, a better citizen, a better human, then so be it. That's your faith. But what you cannot do, and that is where I have a disconnect with people who convert people forcefully. What you cannot do is you have no right to demonize the Hindu faith. You have no right to demonize Sanatan Dharma. I mean, pastors like Punya, George Punya from the south, there are statements that they have made against Mother India, the statements they have made against Hindu beliefs. I think that is absolutely absurd. It is not Christ-like at all. There are many interpretations that you could have to the Bible or the Quran or whatever text the Buddhists have as well. But at the base of every religion is humanity. Sometimes we forget that, and not sometimes, I think most times we forget. The base of every religion is the existence of humans. But religion tends to want to ensure that the humans itself are destroyed if they don't believe in that particular religion.
Thank you so much, Savio. I think the takeaway is Sanatana Dharma teaches you to find the God inside you and around you, and it doesn't matter which religion you profess. Thank you very much, Savio. And this has been a wonderful revelation in the sense that we're looking at it in a very, very clinical manner, and that your benefit of having studied theology comes through shining. Thank you once again, and viewers, please do like, share, and subscribe to our channel. I don't see any questions this time. That means you have made a very compelling argument, is all I can say, Savio, because this is not an easy subject for anyone to handle. And I think as a country, we need to move forward, and your takeaway is absolutely spot on. Thank you once again, Savio. Namaskar.
I'll just make one comment. Go ahead. Okay.
Yeah.
We believe that India is our mother, right? Do you think a mother differentiates whether a child is white, black, fat, thin? No. So as a nation, our mother will never distinguish us based on our religion, provided you consider that mother to be your mother, no? If you think your neighbor is your mother, for example, Indian Muslims, in some cases, not all of them, but in some cases, their loyalty lie to the religion. In some cases, the Christians' loyalty lie to the religion, to Vatican or to an evangelical sect. Then what happens to the love for your motherland? That's where the problem is. Start thinking as an Indian, not through your eyes of religion.
Thank you once again. Thank you so much, and namaskar.
Namaskar.